Hello, I'm Larry Berkelhammer. Welcome back to mindfulness-based mastery practices to improve health and well-being for people with chronic illness or disabilities or healthy people who are interested in learning about this. This is part 6 of 7-part series, and in part 6 we'll be exploring mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practice. Why practice mindfulness? Everyone hears about mindfulness today. If you want to live with greater health and well-being, it's important to live fully in the moment, instead of spending our time, as we do so often, thinking about what happened yesterday or in the past, or continually planning what we're going to be doing tomorrow, later in the day. The more we can be fully present, the more we can live with health and well-being. And it allows us to rein in all that rumination and anxiety and to see the automatic way we often behave. There's a monster on the left pulling this guy, and it says self-doubt, unworthiness, anxiety, sadness, fear. And he's pulling this guy into this hole. We all experience this from time to time. And we don't think all we have to do is let go. It's hard to do. It's much easier said than done. Mindfulness practice allows us to let go of the rope. We can't let go of the rope without mindfulness because we don't even know that we're tugging on the rope. We don't know there's a rope. We're just caught up in our thoughts and our ruminations. Mindfulness shows us, oh, there's a rope and I can let go of it. Sorry for this being so blurry. This is a man sitting at a lunch counter about to eat soup, but he's holding the spoon upside down. It says, Darryl suspected someone had once again slipped him a spoon with the concave side reversed. It's all in our minds. We imagine these things, and mindfulness allows us to see that we're simply holding the spoon upside down. We can reverse it. But if we're not aware of all the craziness going on in our minds, we don't have the choice to turn the spoon over. There's a lot of research being done in this area. This is one of them, probably the most famous researcher in the field of mindfulness, Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And this is a very famous monk, Matthieu Ricard, who was a molecular biologist who walked away from that career to go to Asia and become a monk. In Buddhist circles, he's well known as the happiest person alive. They have studied his brain with fMRI, PET scans, EEG, give him all kinds of tests, and he apparently has been found to be able to go through the whole day seeing his thoughts, and as they happen, being able to see them as just thoughts and to step back from them. This is one of the tests they do with the monks at Wisconsin. They hook them up to EEG. This is just a neuron. You know, we all get stressed out. I mean, it's part of being human. It's not necessary to stay stuck in that. Mindfulness is a ticket out of that. It's not the only way. There are other meditation practices, but mindfulness is a way. Part of mindfulness practice is healthy diaphragmatic breathing. And in fact, the most common mindfulness practice is following your breath. As you breathe diaphragmatically, following the sensations of breathing, and then noticing when your mind wanders from that and bringing it back. I have to admit, this is the way I tend to try to learn everything. I tried to learn the martial arts this way. I tried to learn mindfulness this way. You can't learn mindfulness this way. Impossible. You can learn all about it. You can become an expert on it, but you can't practice it this way. You can't learn how to practice it this way. This is someone who is not practicing mindfulness. And you can imagine the problems driving a car multitasking. This is a very simple exercise that I recommend. I'll stop, breathe, feel. Throughout the day, whatever you're doing, you're in the middle of work, driving a car, periodically throughout the day, stop whatever you're doing, relax. That in itself, if you can just do that much, you're going to improve your quality of life and your health. Relax and allow yourself to breathe diaphragmatically. Of course, you can't breathe diaphragmatically unless you're relaxed. I have to relax my abdomen for the diaphragm to expand downward. Observe the sensations of your abdomen expanding and contracting. This is what we do when we're practicing mindfulness. When I'm practicing mindfulness meditation, I tune into the sensations of the diaphragmatic breathing, the diaphragm going up into the chest and then down, displacing all the internal organs. Now, one thing that happens to everyone when they're meditating is their minds wander. I've heard people say, no, my mind doesn't wander. I've talked to the senior most meditation teachers who all say their minds wander. Our minds wander. But the thing is, that what mindfulness is, it's not about not having the mind wander. Mindfulness is about noticing when the mind wanders and then intentionally bringing our attention back to the sensations of respiration. George Leonard was an Aikido master who I really like. He wrote a book called Mastery. In it, he talked about how we practice things just for the sake of practicing. Whether it's a martial art or mindfulness, or the advantage of mindfulness is there are no belts to achieve. The problem with a martial art is people get caught up in wanting to become a black belt, and wanting to keep achieving, and they lose sight of the fact why they're practicing in the first place, which in the case of certain martial arts, like the internal arts like Aikido and Qigong, Tai Chi, and a few others, it's about the practice itself. It's not about achieving anything down the road. So George Leonard wrote about how mastery means mastering practice. It's not necessary. This is one way to meditate. It's absolutely not necessary. It can be helpful to sit in a traditional posture, and this is the Burmese posture, but it's completely unnecessary. You can follow this meditator, and there are many. I've worked with many people who have back problems, and they meditate supine. It's for them. It works much better. Here's another advantage of mindfulness. We all find ourselves from time to time in a very uncomfortable, heated debate or vicious argument with someone. And we get caught up, both sides are caught up in seeing the other person as wrong, absolutely wrong. Mindfulness has allowed the guy on the left to step back from that and to see that, oh, these are just my thoughts. I'm having these thoughts that the other guy is wrong, he's bad, whatever. And allows us to step away from it. When I was at the Simonton Cancer Center during a 3-year period, there were a lot of patients who had these kinds of thoughts, perfectly normal thoughts. The problem is having this kind of thought can actually negatively impact on your health and well-being. How often do you hear someone saying, I'm feeling depressed? Most people say, I am depressed. There's a big difference. I'm depressed, we're powerless. I'm having the thought that I'm depressed means I'm seeing that, oh yes, I'm having the sensations that go with depression. I'm feeling depressed. I'm having the thought that I'm depressed. That means I have the power to work with it and to climb out of it using skills. This is something a lot of people find very helpful in the beginning. I did. Setting random alarms on your mobile device. Whenever an alarm goes off, reminds you, just notice your thoughts, notice your breathing, just take a minute, stop, breathe, feel. In mindfulness, we want to be fully immersed in whatever activity we're engaged in. If we're doing washing glasses, we'll be fully immersed in it. Jon Kabat-Zinn, the founder of MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, this is his quote: "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." In other words, we cannot stop bad things from happening to us in life. We can't. No one has that power. But we can choose how to deal with it. And mindfulness is the most powerful way because it keeps us awake. Right when a surfer is surfing, you have to be riding the wave, and your mind can't be wandering. In summary of part 6, we explored mindfulness practices, the reason why mindfulness is so important, and I just gave you a glimpse of what it's like to practice it. In the final section, part 7, we're going to explore meaning and purpose, which is another one of the areas that researchers have found add to health and well-being. There are recommended resources that I have on my website, and I invite you to spend time on my website, which is just a public service, non-commercial website. I want to thank you very much for your attention.